Hello everyone, my name is Olga and this is my ultimate guide to Izmir in Turkey. We spent a whole week in the city and every single day we had somewhere new to go, someplace new to explore. Izmir is the third biggest city in Turkey with over 3 million people living there. It is located on the Aegean Sea, about 1 hour flight from Istanbul. Turkey is most famous for its beautiful beaches, and even though Izmir does not have a beach, but there are so many things to see and to do that you can easily spend a week there exploring the city and going to the seaside, taking boat trips, feeding the seagulls on the boat, checking out the ancient cities, because Izmir has 8,500 years of history. It was once founded by the Greeks, then taken over by Romans and became part of Ottoman Empire in the 15th century. Quite often I hear that Izmir is one of the most modern and westernized city in Turkey, and I'm not gonna judge whether it's good or bad, but it's a city with a very rich history and I definitely recommend going there. After you arrive at the airport, there are 3 ways of getting into the city. The first is the airport taxi. It's an official yellow taxi. It should go by the meter. There are also Hava bus. It's an airport bus. And the easiest option for us was to take the train. Right at the airport there is a train station. You are buying Izmirim card, and with that card you will be able to use all kinds of public transport in the city. To not make it complicated, I will explain all the details about how to use public transport at the end of this video. And now let's talk about where is the best to stay in Izmir. Main district for tourists is Konak. It has several neighborhoods, out of which I would say that Alsancak, Kultur, Kemeralti are the most famous with tourists. And if you feel like living more local style and don't mind traveling by ferry every day, it's about 15 minutes one way, then you can also stay in Karşıyaka across the bay. Our hotel was in Alsancak, and I think this neighborhood is the most convenient for touristic purposes. Also, our hotel was right next to the train station and walking distance to the pier, so most areas we could just walk on foot, and sometimes we took a ferry or a tram. We stayed at Ibis Hotel. It's a 3-star hotel, part of a bigger chain, and I checked other hotels in the same area for a similar budget, and they had more space. They were 1 bedroom, kitchenette, some sitting area. But in the reviews there was always something of, like, for example, smoke smell in the room, shower not working properly, or something like that. So I decided to choose the chain hotel like Ibis, where you can be sure that things will be good, even though for the same price I could have gotten more space in the room. Later in the video we will go to the area where you can see more upscale hotels. So as we're staying in Alsancak, our first point of interest is Kıbrıs Sehitleri Street, and I am sorry if I'm mispronouncing some names of the streets. I will have all of them in the description in this video. So this street was really close to our hotel, and it turned out it is one of the most popular streets in Izmir, both for tourists and for locals. And the street is completely closed off to traffic, and there are restaurants, cafes, shopping places. Most of the restaurants are street food and coffee shops, but on side streets you will also find bars, and in some of them there is quite nice food. Also, I think the main attraction of this street are actually the side streets, where you can find those bars and nice little restaurants, because when you look up you see these beautiful restored balconies, and there are so many of them. You just walk there all the time looking up, so be prepared for some neck pain. Our next spot is Gundogdu Square. This is the Tree of the Republic sculpture. It was built to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the Republic of Turkey in the year 2000. This is a great spot to start a walk along the seaside. You might want to buy some bread to feed the seagulls. Here you can also have a ride on nostalgia tram. And this is why I like cities like Izmir. This is just an enjoyable seaside walk that is absolutely free. You can come here, have a picnic when it's warmer, meet with your friends and just enjoy the seaside, the seagulls, the sunshine during the day and the beautiful sunset during the evening. Definitely come here to watch the Red Sea sunset. And for dinner, go back to those side streets in Alsancak. It's a very trendy, bustling area. There are loud bars for younger people like La Puerta and Travelers Cafe. I have a video of us going to those bars. I will link it in the description. Check it out if you missed it. And in that area you will also find more quiet, cute restaurants too, so if you don't like too much noise, you might prefer those. The next best thing to do while in Izmir is to get a ferry ride. There are several piers along the coast in Konak, and in Alsancak we had a pier too. There are several piers along the coast in Konak. They go every 15 to 25 minutes, and you can see the seagulls follow the boat, and they follow the boat every single time. Also, if you can, go on the weekday outside of rush hours, otherwise it might get quite crowded on the boat. I would recommend trying to do a second ride in the evening too, because Izmir after sunset is unbelievably beautiful from the sea. Our next stop is Cumhuriyet Square. It has an Atatürk statue in the center, and also this is an area for upscale hotels like Swissotel, Marriott and Hilton. We go further along the beach, and here is the main attraction is to watch out for these old buildings. And now we finally came to the clock tower, Konak Square. This is the main landmark of the city. It gets very crowded on the weekends, so again, if you can, go on the weekday. The clock tower that you see in the center was designed by a French architect. It was completed in 1901. A lot of people feed pigeons here, especially the children enjoy playing around with them. Our next stop is Kemeralti Bazaar. It's a famous bazaar in Izmir. It's very big, and here you can buy not only the souvenirs but many other things. And when you just step into it, you can see a lot of local restaurants. Mostly it's Turkish traditional food. You can buy spices, you can buy all kinds of produce there. So if you really want traditional Ottoman style experience, this is the place to go. And at the center of this market you will find the Kizlaragasi Inn. It's a historical inn. It was built in 1744, and today the lower floor is used for shopping and the upper floor is used for accommodation. I went to some shops, and these 3 bracelets I bought for 10 lira. Here I was surprised to see very beautiful wedding dresses and party dresses. Some of them looked more traditional, some of them were more modern. Traditional suits for children. And right next to it we see everyday clothes. So this market turned out to be quite huge, and essentially you can get anything that you want here. So now we walked all the way through the market and we are at our next destination, one of the most popular attractions in Izmir, Smyrna Agora, ancient city. The entry ticket is 25 Turkish lira for a person. Agora of Smyrna was built by the Greeks in the 4th century BC. Later it was ruined by an earthquake and rebuilt by a Roman emperor. Agora of Smyrna means ancient Roman agora located in Smyrna, the old city. In ancient Greece, agora was a public open space used for assemblies and markets, and now you can see what is excavated at this moment. A lot of ancient stones, as you can see, are still disassembled, but you can see all of them displayed on the ground. We also saw ancient tombstones there. Now we are walking towards our next destination, Asansör. It's a historical elevator. And we are now in Karşıyaka. It's another neighborhood in Konak. You can see the hills here are very steep. This is Dario Moreno Street. It's a nice little street dedicated to a singer who used to live here. And here you can see very cute cafes and even an artwork dedicated to Dario Moreno. This street leads us towards the lower station of the elevator. The usage of the elevator is free, and I did even see some local people using it for purposes of getting from the lower street to the higher street. Asansör was built in 1907 by a wealthy Jewish banker and a trader. It was supposed to carry people and goods through the steep cliff between the two parts of the quarter. Recently it was restored, and since then it became one of the landmarks of Izmir. On the top you can sit in a nice restaurant, have lunch or dinner, and have this amazing view of Izmir, of the seaside. We were there at lunchtime, but I bet the sunsets there are unbelievable. Our next destination is still in Konak, still in the same neighborhood. It's Kultur Park. It's a big urban park, and it was founded all the way back in 1936, and it has been hosting the Izmir International Fair. And even though there was no fair at the time when we were there, we really enjoyed being there, and it is a very big green park, and there are a lot of facilities like exhibition halls, open air theater, art center, even a marriage office, an amusement park, and I know there is a big running track and a swimming pool. I say this is the perfect place for walks and just relaxing in the nature. Our next destination is yet again up the hill. We are walking towards Velvet Castle, or Kadife Kale in Turkish, and there is a possibility of taking a taxi and they will take you by a good road all the way up. But we did not know that, and we decided to walk through the route that Google suggested to us, and we saw very interesting old local buildings. I will have a separate video dedicated to just that. But when you walk all the way up the hill, you will be rewarded by the amazing views. Velvet Castle itself was built in the 3rd century BC by one of the generals of Alexander the Great, and the remains now are only the western walls and the 5 towers in the southern part. There is a small cafe inside the castle walls. And something I don't see in castles in Europe is that entrance is free, and a lot of local people come there with children to just relax and have a nice weekend. Here we see another beautiful Ataturk statue. It's his face carved into a rock. I recommend wearing some sensible shoes when you go there, because especially if you want to climb up on the castle walls, the steps themselves, they can be not very even here and there. But from the top, it is yet another amazing view over Izmir. So now that we've covered all the usual suspects, the most popular attractions in Izmir, let's try and go across the bay For that you will need to take a boat, and the station is called Karşıyaka. Where are you going? In Konak there are multiple piers, and from all of them you can take a boat to Karşıyaka. There you can again have a very nice seaside walk. There you will see this Atatürk statue. Here you will see more statues, and this is the main shopping street. There are also quite some street food options. If you walk further along the beach, you will see multiple historical buildings. They are called köşk. Some of them are closed off, and in two others we saw there is a coffee shop and a kindergarten. All along the seaside here you also see that the tram is going. So if you are tired or cannot walk for some reason, you can take a tram. Along the promenade there are restaurants, children playground areas, some workout areas, sculpture. One of those sculptures is Olof Palme Human Rights Monument. It's a very beautiful and meaningful monument. Olof Palme, he was one of the prime ministers of Sweden who was a victim of a terrorist attacks in 1986. This monument is also known as the Statue of Liberty or the Statue of Human Rights. From here we also walked further into the residential area of Izmir, and I will make a video about walking along the residential streets of Izmir to show you how people live there. And us, we liked Izmir so much we even thought, why don't we relocate to Izmir in the future? Now let's talk about your shopping possibilities in Izmir, and there are a lot. The first street where you might want to go is in Alsancak, the street that I showed you before, filled with bars and restaurants, and also there are a lot of shops. A lot of Turkish brands have their shops there, so if your goal is to buy something local, something Turkish, this is a good place to do it. Izmir has many shopping malls. One of them is Istinai Park. Some premium brands are there. And another big shopping mall is Hilltown. Inside there you will find an open space area with cafes, restaurants, some trees, and like a small lake inside. It's a very big modern shopping mall, and I was surprised to see that you are even allowed to go there with your pets, even to the food court area. And I made a big video about the shopping mall, just walking along it, showing you what you can get there. Now let's talk about how you will be able to go to all of these places in Izmir. Izmir has a very efficient public transport system, and as I told you in the beginning, right at the airport there is a metro station, and you will be able to buy an Izmirim card there. The price is 15 lira as a deposit plus extra 20 for 3 rides. So you buy it here and then you're all ready to go. The trains themselves are comfortable, modern and clean. And at your destination station there will be these machines where you can refill your card. There is an interface in English. You put your card to the machine, press a couple of buttons, put in the money, and you're good to go. We found it to be very easy. Here we are at the metro station, and as you can see it's also comfortable and clean. This is a tram station. The trams themselves, as you see, also comfortable and clean. This is a great way to see the city if you are tired or just want to cover more ground. Another way to travel is buses, of course, and to navigate you can use a Move It app. All around the city you will see steps parked. You can use them with a special app. And this is my favorite way of traveling in Izmir. It's a ferry. There are multiple piers in Konak and on the other side, and the ferries go every 15 to 25 minutes, so you don't have to wait for too long. And even if you don't need to travel from one coast to another, I do recommend taking a boat at least once, because this is an adventure on itself. And let's talk about the taxis. The official taxis are yellow and you can see their license plate number on the side. At every big attraction, at every big hotel, you will be able to find a taxi stand. You just go to the first one in line and tell them your destination. They all should go by the meter, and inside you can either pay by card or by cash. Not every taxi though you can pay by card. But personally, taxi is not my favorite way to travel in Izmir because, as you can see, traffic there is quite bad, like in every big city, so this is no surprise. This is me walking close to our hotel in Alsancak, Ibis Hotel, and you can see the traffic is very bad. So this was my ultimate guide from Izmir, and I will be posting more videos from Izmir as well as from Antalya and Istanbul in Turkey. And of course the summer season is almost there, so there will be a lot of videos from beaches and resorts. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and the best way to support my channel is to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.